Students, welcome. Well, students, welcome to phase three of today's lecture series. And we're going to continue where we had left off, and we're going to focus on, look on page 106 in your book, and we're going to focus on 360-degree feedback. Now, 360-degree feedback obviously is going to be extremely significant. And the reason why is that it is significant is that we get feedback from a whole bunch of different places. When we talk about 360-degree feedback and use that type of a system, you get feedback about your performance from your peers, from your subordinates, from your supervisors, and from your customers. Now, that's significant because feedback tells us how we are with the people that we work with, and it tells us where we are and our customers. Do they like what we do? Do employees around us that we work with every day, are they happy with us and are we happy with them? So there has to be, from a leadership perspective, a certain transparency that exists between our internal and our external environments. That means that we want to get favorable feedback from our leaders, but also from our peers. And if we are supervisors, people that report to us. But is everyone on the same page when it comes to change? This is where you need constant feedback. When things change in an organization, it's because customers want change. Are they going to be satisfied with what they want versus what we're putting out, what we're giving to them? How do we bridge that gap in communication with that type of transparency? So this is when 360-degree feedback is really significant. Another thing that we can look at in fighting performance appraisal systems that might not be accurate are doing self-appraisals. They actively involve the employee in the appraisal process. So you do an appraisal for yourself, okay? You have a mirror image of, okay, this is what I'm doing right now in the organization. Then you bring that forward to your supervisor's expectations. Now, here again, if you're getting ongoing feedback from your supervisor, and if you are the leader and you're giving feedback to your subordinates, you should all be on the same page when it comes to the formal appraisal. Further, there are no surprises. Further, you're bridging the gap between you and your employees. And that's what's really significant. The gap for where you want them to be or where you think they are versus where they think they are. That's where the self appraisal comes into play. So, when we talk about theory into practice here, formal appraisals on performance often fail to bring about the desired behavioral change. Look at page 107. Self-appraisal and data from multiple sources can help increase the validity and effectiveness of performance feedback. Let's take a look at that for a second. Say it again. Self-appraisal and data from multiple sources can help increase the validity and effectiveness of performance feedback. So, how does everyone in my circle, as a leader, embrace the change that I am trying to put forth based on my observation and based on theirs? Are there large gaps in between? These are the things that we really need to look at. And our effectiveness as leaders in driving change have everything to do with behavior. You guys already talked about this in some of your threads. Behavioral change is difficult, but unless employees see that the change is necessary, they're not going to perform the way we think they are going to, despite the changes. You don't want to chug off that balance between morale and performance. It's important to keep those in the balance. When we move on to top management development, developing new competencies in an organization's executives is a key component of strategic renewal and change. Saying again, developing new competencies in an organization's executives is a key component of strategic renewal and change. Those in the executive level, those who are on the top levels or the strategic levels of the organization, can't just write about the change. They have to support it. That means they have to be able to give the resources that are necessary to make that change come forward. And developing the competencies are going to be based on what individuals are doing versus what they can do. Both behavioral and cognitive interventions are used, but on the job experience is essential. Yeah, as a leader, you got to get in the trenches with your employees and show them as much as talk about it. Talk about that change. We already talked about this, but consider, the table that we used in previous pages, 103 and 104, but we got to consider the buy make options. There's advantages and disadvantages to them. So go back and look at those over, please. This will be the end of and the wrap up for today on lecture. Then on Friday, we're going to talk about, we talk about top management development. We're going to talk about internal candidates and how they are developed through succession. Go on to the DQs for tomorrow.